All right, Jesse on fire. Welcome back to the channel. All right, I have an exciting video to do today. All right, we're going to talk about Israel Adesanya and his future at 205, and also just about Israel Adesanya as it relates to him being a strategist in the fight game. My favorite topic, the fight game. Okay, so if you like the content, subscribe, ring the bell, forward this to your friends. Okay, we've got a tight-knit group that's growing slowly. Let's make it grow a little faster. Show all your friends. Anyway, all right, so check this out. So Israel Adesanya, I believe, has demonstrated that as a tactician of the fight game, he might be the best of all time. Honest to God. And I say that factoring in Conor McGregor, and I'll tell you why, okay? So Conor was brilliant in that he knew his goal was to get all the way up and win the belt at 145 and then go for the double belt. Now, in Conor's case, he had such a tremendous challenge in front of him at 145 where you had Jose Aldo, who hadn't lost in like 11 years, was considered the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. I mean, that's what people don't even understand. Like, that, you know what? For people who are newer, who kind of like started watching around Khabib Conor, around Mayweather Conor, this is the thing that you need to understand, okay? Aldo, at the time that Conor fought him, was equivalent to Khabib now. Really, that's how dominant he was. Like, he was considered absolutely unbeatable. Okay, he hadn't lost in 11 years. He had never lost at 145 in the UFC. His only losses were super early in his career and very, very old. He had run through everyone. Okay, and that's who Conor was calling out, right? That's who Conor was calling out like crazy. He ran through, 6 people in the division and then went to Aldo and then he knocked him out in 13 seconds. Can you imagine if someone as brash and loud as Conor went through 155 only to get to Khabib and then knock Khabib out in 15 seconds? Now, obviously that would never happen with Khabib, but just try to imagine the impact of that, okay? Now, Conor, you're not going to say that was strategy on Conor's part to knock out Aldo in 15 seconds, but just like that, it was hard for Conor to look past winning the belt at 145. He did that and then he immediately tried to go up. The Nate Diaz thing was like a fork in the road that just kind of happened. He was originally supposed to fight Rafael dos Anjos. With Israel Adesanya, why I say that he's even better at this than Conor is because Israel Adesanya has been targeting this Jon Jones fight for like since 3 or 4 fights ago. Okay. And while running through his own division, right? He's been targeting this super fight for years, right? For years, he's building that up. And look at how he's doing it. So first he goes and he clears out his division, right? Which he's done now, right? There are no viable big fights at 185 anymore. And with no hesitation, Israel Adesanya, unlike GSP, unlike Anderson Silva, right? Immediately goes up a weight class. Immediately. He doesn't do the thing where he's going to clear out, Hermanson and then fight Till. And then he's going to fight, every other person where they'll give any excuse to give this, someone else a shot at Israel Adesanya. No one really cares except they just know Israel's going to run through him. Yay, we watch. It does 500,000 pay-per-views, zippity-doo-dah. He's like, no. I'm not doing that thing. I'm not going to do the thing where I just sit there and then just, line him up. Give me a challenge, right? So he's immediately going to 205. I love that. But what I also love is how he's setting up the Jon Jones fight, because try to imagine the size of that fight if Israel beats Jan Blachowicz, which, spoiler alert, I think he's going to. Okay, so here's what I think is going to happen as it relates to that. I think that Israel is going to go up and he's going to fight Jan Blachowicz, right? I think that Jan Blachowicz looks pretty similar to the guys that Izzy's already beat, right? Big, powerful, not so surgical, and Izzy picks them all apart, right? Jan is just a bigger version of Paulo Costa, right? Like maybe Jan could try to take him down, right? Maybe Jan could try to take him down and have more success. But on the feet, how is Jan Blachowicz different than Paulo Costa? Doesn't look very different to me, right? And so stylistically, Izzy is a huge favorite. The only prayer that Jan has is he's so powerful that, like his leg kicks will be devastatingly powerful, right? Like where, Izzy's going to eat a leg kick or eat a body kick. And maybe Jan is so powerful that it's just shocking to him, the level of power that the guy has. But smart money is on the scalpel instead of the sledgehammer when Izzy's just going to be boop, 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 boop. And I say, I mean, I can't, how many times have I said this on the channel, okay? If you want to understand why that's the case, just to yourself, right? Make a fist, okay? Make a fist, put your fist this far away from your face and hit yourself that hard, okay? Just like that. So no, you know, nothing behind it. Just like that, okay? Punch yourself in the face, okay? Now that imagine a professional fighter like Izzy, who has tremendous reach, just throwing it like that, right? Like that. Imagine that hitting you in the face. Okay, so like, you don't need to be a sledgehammer throwing Thiago Santos for your punches to hurt a lot. And Izzy's punches, while they don't look like he's throwing massive power behind him, clearly are devastating when they land, right? So again, punch yourself in the face and then imagine Izzy out Israel, right? So like the tremendous power of Jon Blachowicz matters how if he lands one shot for 5 shots that Izzy lands. So I think that Izzy is a huge favorite in that fight. Huge favorite. And also, historically, when guys go up a weight class, when they are coming off victories, right? Like not like they go up a weight class because they're desperate, right? Like Weidman or like Luke Rockhold, those kinds of things where they're like, well, I seem to be having not a lot of success here. Maybe it's the fact that I'm cutting too much weight, you know, and I'm going to go up. Like if they're coming off a bunch of losses. Now, some guys have done well going up, like Robert Whitaker. What's his name? Anthony Johnson. There's someone else I was just thinking of that. Oh, Thiago Santos did really well going up to 205. So it works sometimes, right? But yeah, like going up a weight class is sometimes like is a really good move. And for Izzy, he makes 185 easily. But like what I'm saying is in that scenario, like a guy who's a dominant champion, then they go up, right? They almost always win. I mean, they really do. It's because the speed that you're used to fighting at your weight class, okay, the additional power and strength does not in any way, it's not enough. It's not enough of a strength and power to supersede the speed advantage that they have and what they're used to. It's like running with a parachute behind you and then you take it off. Like the punches are coming slower. The kicks are coming slower. They're easier to navigate. So I think Izzy is a huge favorite in that fight. Now, after he wins, what's going to happen when he fights Jon Jones? That fight, I think he's going to lose. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because Jon Jones is bordering on like not human in terms of how his body is built. Like his legs are so long, it's insane, right? And Izzy has I believe their reach is actually pretty similar, but it's not going to matter. I don't think. I think Jon Jones at 205 is the best there ever was. I just can't see for a big fight like that, like a really big fight like that, where Jon Jones knows it's a tremendous challenge. It's kind of like the DC fight. You know, when he's coming, he's going to fight Dominic Reyes. Like, I know it's for a title and all that. You know, it's like, oh yeah, he's fighting Dominic Reyes or he's fighting Thiago Santos. I get it that it's for a title. It's different, man. It's different when it's a really big fight, like a real big fight. Like against Izzy, where he knows there's a chance that he could lose. He's going to train different. He's going to focus different. And he's proven over and over and over he is an indestructible champion. And Izzy looks that way too, honestly. I mean, Izzy looks that way too. But it's Jon Jones, man. And at some point, age is going to catch up to him. I mean, that's just the truth. And so I will say this. If Izzy wins, I will be the first one on here saying, look, Jon Jones 5 years ago, the version of Jon Jones 5 years ago, younger and also maybe, maybe also a little bit, enhanced or whatnot. That Jon Jones does not lose to Izzy. But it's exciting. I am a huge Izzy fan, and I'm excited to watch this happen, and I hope it is coming like really, really soon. I didn't actually catch a date for when that fight's coming, but I mean, that's awesome, man. Again, and I just want to come back to the thing I just said. Everybody's like, oh, the GOAT, GSP's the GOAT. Okay. Did GSP ever go to 185? No. Right? He had cleared his division out 100 different times. He went to 185 when Michael Bisping was the champion. He didn't ever really test himself at 205 or at 185. Okay. Anderson Silva. He went up to 205 a couple times. He fought Forrest Griffin and he fought James Irvin, and then he fought DC in a replacement fight that he was just taking the money on that. He never like set out to really test himself at 205 against like the best in those divisions. Now, I think Anderson would have won. Again, I mean, like in Anderson's prime, I think it's a travesty actually now, like in hindsight, having seen people go up so many times. I think Anderson would have run through those guys. I think he really would. I would think he would have run through those guys at 205. But you know what the Weasel said, which is very exciting, and I agree with him 100%. If Izzy beats Jan and then he beats Jon Jones, he's gonna call out Stipe. And I would pick Izzy in that fight. So I would go. I'm gonna pick Jan to lose. I'm sorry, Izzy over Jan, Jon over Izzy. But if I'm wrong about that, and then he fights Stipe, I would pick Izzy, just because he's a surgeon on the feet, man. He's just a surgeon. Now, maybe Stipe ends up taking him down. Maybe that weight difference is too big. But Stipe's kind of like Khabib, where like up until I'll never pick against Khabib again ever. But for some reason, I'm always looking. I'm like, yeah, I think this guy could get Stipe. Although I didn't think DC was going to beat him the first time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I somehow convinced I certainly thought Francis was going to beat him. So I guess it's really just that. I thought Francis was going to beat him. But yeah, I mean, he has proven to be a great champion, so I have eaten my words multiple times. But Izzy, it's very exciting. Very exciting, and I commend his approach. So if you like the content, subscribe, ring the bell, tell your friends, share it. Let's go.